Today I'm actually going to talk to you about creativity and the experience economy. Now I don't know if you guys know what that necessarily means, but the experience economy has actually been in the works for many years. And I'm going to kind of exemplify it with my movement. So let's see. So first of all, just to make sure it's clear, when I move my hand here, that's actually me up there. So this is actually what my company does. We try and combine physical and digital spaces to make a canvas that's interactive and what we call experiential, to take engagement, take human connection to kind of the next level, and get you not just passively looking at content, but actually physically involved in it. Now, of course, I'll tie that all into the experience economy in a sec, but the source of it is actually, let me walk over here. There you go. You can see it's actually from a Harvard Business Review that says, "Welcome to the experience economy." And it is by Pine and Gilmore. I strongly recommend that you read the article if you have a chance. But that article was actually written in 1998, so we're talking something more than 20 years ago. And amazingly, it's more and more applicable nowadays. And they wrote this before there was phones in our pockets taking our attention, before there was Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and all those things really fighting for our attention all the time. And now, if you keep that in mind, it's even more accurate now. And now people's attention and their need for experiences is growing. And we're actually going to kind of break that down and how we evolved to get where we are. And actually where we're going and how that might apply to you, let's say to your business, to how you go about your life, and really how creativity ties into it. So the most basic question is, kind of, you're all busy. Why are you spending your day here? Why are you listening to me talk? And how is kind of the world changing with all of that? So it really starts with where we are, right? And the big thing is the internet, and the world being so connected, and the fact that from being in LA 2 days ago, I'm now in front of you here in Dublin talking to you about this, and the fact that I can communicate with my employees and you can work remotely, and all these things that really take the world to the next level and really increase the pace of innovation, and in that sense also increase competition and what businesses have to do, and the fact that you locally, you're basically no longer tied to your local suppliers and local services. Now there's ways for you to get the same services from anywhere else in the world, and that's even true for employees. That's why it's so popular to work remotely, and so many freelancers are now living remotely, and people are almost encouraged to work at home. So all that leads to kind of an increased competition, and what that means for you is you're getting busier and busier and busier. But not only you, also your audience, the consumers you're trying to get to, the people you're trying to connect with, all of them are busier, which really means that it's that much harder for you to actually get their attention, communicate what you want to do. And that's why also creativity comes in, where now you have to engage them in a new way. And with that, of course, is also the big idea of people on the phones, right? So why should they listen to you when they can just look on their phone? So all that kind of ties together to what is leading to the experience economy and what is really causing the change from what used to be easy, or never really easy, to something that's getting harder and harder. So let's talk about big picture, which is really this taking effect for multiple industries and how it takes effect for those industries. So we'll start with the one I just erased accidentally, which is retail. So retail is something that you have to go out to the mall. You used to have to look through lots of inventory, apparel, to get to what you want. And now that's no longer the case. Amazon, or at least in the States, Amazon is kind of taking over. Everything you need, you can pull out your phone, you can order on Amazon, it'll be there in 1 or 2 days. So what does that mean for the shops that you used to have to go to, and the shops that used to have clear audiences, and shopping malls in general? Those shopping malls now have a harder time. The standard is that much higher for you to go to them, because it's not really a need anymore. You don't need to go there to get whatever you need. You can order it online. And now if you think about restaurants, kind of similar argument takes place, which is you can order to go, you can order online. There's lots and lots of services that really make eating out that much less popular, that much less necessary. So now even in dining, there's more of an experience requirement. Otherwise, in LA, for example, is something called Grubhub. So anything you want, any restaurant, order online, it delivers to you. And now if we talk about cinema, that's kind of having a little bit of an existential crisis, especially with Netflix. You don't need to go to the movies or the theater to watch the movies. Again, you have it on your phone, you have it at home, you have it through Netflix. Similar argument for museums. In museums, you're not really going for the knowledge anymore. Anything and everything you want can be found on the web through Google. So now again, you're going for the experience. And lastly, hotels. Hotels are also having to focus more and more on their audience because Airbnb is so strong. And the fact that you can book online, get a home, not just a room. So really the hotel needs to focus on the customer experience. Now, of course, that was true before, but it's even more true now because of the increased technology, increased basically readily availability of everything. So that's what leads us to the experience economy. These kind of existential crises that some industries are facing, and even those that aren't facing it, really have to kind of get over that leap to draw people. So let's take a step back and really see how we got here. And the easiest way to get there is to talk about cake. So we're going to go through different phases of the economy and how we got to where we are and how all of that is kind of affecting where we're going. So we started with the agrarian economy, which really means you bought the base commodity, right? So here, for example, you wanted to make a cake. You buy the flour, you buy the sugar, you start putting the pieces together. And then we moved on to kind of the industrial economy. So it means you no longer have to buy the flour. Now you can buy the cake mix. So price factor kind of went up from pennies for the commodity to, let's say, $1 or $2 for the actual cake mix. But now it's less time, less effort for you, and you can get where you need to faster. The next one is right over here. Now we're at the service economy, right? To get the cake, you don't even have to bake it. You can go to a bakery and buy the cake, and it's there and it's done. And you can enjoy a cake. Again, now you're not spending $2 on cake mix. Now you're, let's say, spending $10. And now we're really reaching the point where we're entering the experience economy. You're not even buying the cake. Now you're buying the way it's staged. You're going to, for example, Chuck E. Cheese or whatever the nearest venue is, and hosting your whole party there, and they're including the cake. So we've kind of taken a trip from base commodity to the full completed experience. And with that, there's more and more opportunities to really differentiate yourself, right? Because if I buy this kind of flour or that kind of flour, it's kind of all the same. But of course, there's more variation on cake. Am I buying it with chocolate icing or vanilla icing? And now when you actually get to the experience, you have that much more opportunity to differentiate yourself further. And you can see that this guy's pushing, right? So the whole idea is that each economic phase, as it becomes more mature, it kind of pushes businesses and pushes us to move to the next phase. So if you want to stay premium, want to stay competitive, you have to kind of evolve from one to the service to the economy, kind of keep pushing yourself forward, and that's how you keep that demand and really keep your business or whatever you're trying to do, keep it alive. So I'll talk a little bit about me and kind of why I'm here and what I have to do with any of this. So I got a beautiful introduction. Thank you for that, Anne. Professional dancer and aerialist. Graduated in theoretical mathematics and computer science when I was 18. And then I worked hard to kind of combine those different worlds, specifically for my stage work. So all that work was about actually using my computer science skills to help my performative sales. And of course, all that combined with mathematics to do all the real-time interactions you're seeing. And from working on that, it kind of grew into my company now, which is called Zuzor. So the name is actually Zuz, which means move, and Or, which means light. So it's moving lights. You can see as I move, the lights move. And the way we connect to the experience economy is really we're trying to enable different businesses, different efforts, different people to enter the experience economy and really use, for example, digital signage, big displays like this in a way that's much more experiential and much more engaging. So we're really here to enable anybody to do what we're doing. You can actually get our software from our website, or you can talk to me and I'll help you. But basically trying to kind of raise the bar from just a display where people are watching passively to something that physically engages them and really starts moving us towards that experience. So that's Zuzor, and you can really see that I'm not trying to sell like software, I'm selling an experience. And that's what really we're all moving into. We're trying to move into a phase where museums are no longer selling like we have this artwork and this artwork, we're selling the experience within it. So that's a trend that you'll see carrying more and more in different industries. And the distinction really is as we move kind of from commodity to goods to services to economy, now the main thing I want us to look at is right here, the nature of offering, right? So we're moving into something where we call memorable. So I'm no longer kind of selling you this one thing and here, take it home. I'm trying to sell you really the memory, right? So that's what we're going for. Your core offering now is the memory, the experience, what they take home, and with social media, also what they take a picture of. So I'm going to take a picture of this, I'm going to share it with my friends, and that has the benefit of kind of increasing their memory of it, but then also reaching more and more of your target audience. So really, you need to think of not just what you're selling, but also the memory you're creating around the time they consume it, whatever that be for you, right? So if it's cake, it's what they consume, the experience while they're consuming the cake. So now if we're thinking of audience engagement, there is kind of two ways, right? There's passive, which is kind of what you're doing, right? You're standing there not participating, but you're watching me. And then there's active, which is actually you moving around, taking part. And with that, there's also another dimension, which is kind of immersive or absorption. So if we're talking about the first one, right? So right here, I'm going to start at the extreme, right? Which is escapist. So we are fully immersed and fully activated, right? So the best example for that is actually an escape room, kind of choose to name escapist, where you're in it, you're immersed in the room, and you're very actively participating, moving, putting together the pieces to get out of the room. So I don't know if you all know what an escape room is, but basically you and 4 to 6 of your closest friends are in a room, and you guys have to unlock the doors, figure out the hints to actually get out. So that's an experience that's fully immersive and fully participatory, right? The next phase is we're going to stay fully participatory, but we're going to move less immersed and more absorbed. Okay, so here, for example, my favorite example is cooking. So if you can see they're cooking. So there, you're fully absorbed, you're tasting it, but you're not necessarily immersed, but you are very actively participating. And then if we go the other way, let's talk about passive participation, okay? So they're still passive, but immersed. So for example, art gallery. You go there, you are immersed in the artwork, but it's nothing you're affecting in any way. Or the other way, what you're doing now is less immersed, but still absorbed, which is kind of the straight up entertainment. And now the magic, kind of the golden nugget is theme parks. They combine all of these. If you go to a theme park, really, they're selling you an experience the whole time. That's what gets you to come, and that's what ideally will bring you back to them. And theme parks, they do a good job of kind of mixing and grabbing different types of experiences. And that's really what I want you to think about. Now, how can you apply these different types of experiences into your own work to really try and take what you're doing to a more kind of human level, more of a human connection, to really make an impact and connect with whoever it is you're trying to connect to. And that's really where creativity comes in. Creativity comes in with, you have all these tools, you have whatever you're selling, how do you kind of reimagine it in a way that has maybe active participatory, has passive, has all these different elements to really drive home whatever you want to drive, right? So that's where creativity is. It's not just what you do, it's how you do it and how the customer experiences, how your audience experiences it, how really the emotional connection that's left afterwards. And that's also where kind of the business differential comes in, right? As we moved through the markets, right? From commodity to goods to services and now to experiences, the price point it's kind of going up and up and up, and there's more and more of a premium, but also the opportunity for differentiation comes in, right? You can't really differentiate yourself if you're selling commodity like flour, then it's set at the market price. But if you're doing an amazing experience, for example, for those of us staying like the Market Hotel right here, really they're selling a differentiated experience. They're selling their rooms, they're selling their spa, they're selling the way they treat you when you come in. All those is really ways to differentiate themselves and really try and sell you not just the room and the bed, but the full experience while you're staying at that hotel. And that's really where our mindset needs to be. It needs to be My customer experience starts here and ends here. What are all the different ways I can engage with them emotionally, physically, whatever I can really do to make it that much more memorable and make whatever I'm selling or offering not just about kind of me and my technology or my services, but really about them. Because really the whole shift is about them, the consumers, the customers, the target audience, and how you can connect with them. So I'll just leave you with one last quote before we move into the circus part, so you can actually start lowering it now. But we'll talk a little bit about Charles Darwin, which is just as things change, who survives. So it's, of course, survival of the fittest. But that doesn't necessarily mean the strongest, right? So it's not the strongest of the species that survive, nor, let's say, the most intelligent, but it's one most responsive to change. So hopefully you've noticed this in your day-to-day life, that because of all the technology, all the innovation happening, the human connection is what we really need to focus on, and that's the part where the experience comes in, and that's really what you should pay attention to and see if you can, oh, there it is, coming down slowly, and see if you can actually start applying into your own work and really into your methodology and line of thought. Yeah. There you go. It's a really dramatic build-up. And at some point, I'll take my shirt off and we'll get fully ready, just to make it dramatic. But yeah, so I personally challenge you kind of today and kind of moving forward, how can you take whatever you're doing now, think what it's going to be like in 5 years, and how you can make the customer experience that much more. And you'll see we're going to do an aerial piece. It doesn't have to be extreme. You can take baby steps. You don't have to go and completely reimagine it and kind of uproot whatever you're doing, and we're going to start from scratch and do it all about the customer experience. You can just introduce one thing at a time and really experiment as you go through it to see how you can start engaging people more and more and how you can work towards it so that in 5 years you really get to that wholesome experience without having to kind of break the bank or completely stop what you're doing now. And you'll see that here. We're not going for anything too crazy. We're going for a circus act, an aerial act like you would have seen, and then starting to layer stuff on top. So here, for example, you'll see it's just this effect the whole time, nothing too sophisticated. We don't want to distract from kind of the art of what we're doing, but we do want to increase that level of engagement and human connection. So with that, give me a sec. I'm just going to take everything off.
Loving can hurt. Loving can hurt sometimes, but it's the only thing that I know. When it gets hard, you know it can get hard sometimes. It is the only thing that makes us feel alive. We keep this love in a photograph. We made these memories for ourselves, where our eyes are never closing, our hearts are never broken, and time's forever frozen still. So you can keep me inside the pocket of your ripped jeans, holding me closer till our eyes meet. You won't ever be alone. Wait for me to come home. Loving can heal. Loving can mend your soul. And it's the only thing that I know. I swear it will get easier. Remember that with every piece of you. And it's the only thing we take with us when we die. Keep this love in a photograph. time's forever frozen still. So you can keep me inside the pocket of your ripped jeans, holding me closer till our eyes meet. You won't ever be alone. And if you hurt me, that's okay, baby. Only words bleed inside these pages. You just hold me. I won't ever let you go. Wait for me to come home. 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 Oh, you can fit me inside the necklace you got when you were 16, next to your heartbeat where I should be. Keep it deep within your soul. And if you hurt me, well, that's okay, baby. Only words bleed inside these pages. You just hold me. I won't ever let you go. When I'm away, I will remember how you kissed me under the lamppost back on 6th Street, hearing you whisper through the phone. Wait for me to come home.